Call to order the Hopkinton zoning board of review meeting. If we could all stand for a moment of silence and salute the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. All right, so petition one is to determine the completeness of application, consider waivers, which is a petition for a special use permit filed by the Hope Valley Grange with a mailing address of 1116 Main Street, Hope Valley, Rhode Island, 02832, for property owned and located at 1116 Main Street, Hope Valley, Rhode Island, 02832, identified as Assessor's Plat 28, Lot 145, in an RFR 80 zone and filed in accordance with Section 8C and 10 of Chapter 134 of the zoning ordinances of the town of Hopkinton as amended. So we do have the applicant present tonight. As I mentioned earlier, we're going to read through the checklist tonight just to make sure we have everything we need. If there's anything that is deficient, we'll let you know, and then you can bring it next meeting. We'll schedule a hearing for next. Where are we at? So we're the, gosh, well, the February 25th.
No.
18th.
Oh, no, 3rd, I'm sorry, 18th, I got a different book. Sorry. 18th, okay. So we're gonna read through that list right now and get started, and we'll see where it takes us. Dan, you want to take one of the big maps?
Yeah, I don't have any maps.
Yeah, that was the big ones, I think.
Well, not sure. You're better at reading these quicker than me.
All right.
This is probably a septic from the works. Joe.
All right, when you're ready, Dan, I'll fire away.
Yeah.
All right, checklist item A, 3 copies of a site prepared by and signed and stamped by a professional engineer or professional land surveyor. The scale of no less than 1 inch equals 40 feet clearly showing.
Yep, got it.
All right, name and address of the property owners.
Owner applicant, Hope Valley Grange and Community Center Inc.
Perfect.
PO Box 354 Hope Valley. Yep.
Perfect. Date, north arrow, graphic scale, lot dimensions and area.
Yes.
Plat and lot, zoning district and setbacks.
Current zoning district, RFR 80, lot frontage. So yes.
Okay. Existing and proposed structures and their relationship and distances from lot boundary lines.
Looks to me like you got the existing building on there. Is anything proposed? No, so they just work within the confines of what they have. So
Yeah, everything's within the
check.
existing structure.
Existing and proposed parking areas and walkways.
Yep.
Existing and proposed landscaping as it relates to the request. Again, it's all-
But yep.
Yeah, nothing's
Actually
changing.
got landscaping down towards the river.
Existing streets, 911 addresses, wells and septic system.
Got public water, septic systems there, and 911 address. Yep.
Perfect. List of names and addresses of all property owners within 200 feet of subject property.
Yes.
All right. Lastly, on item A, any peculiar site conditions or features
It's all existing, so
All existing.
they're not.
on the river? All right.
Motion, Gina.
1 second, this is our other board member. Hello, Ronnie. Meeting starts at 6:10.
Hey, you want to play? It's actually not.
Great. Please. Come around.
They're all the same.
They're going down.
Three copies.
They're all the same.
So you got a little bit of time. And then at 7, we're going together. All right. Can you get over here in the next 15, 20 minutes? You're fine, we're just doing the pre-app. We got time.
I was on a boat yesterday.
He's swearing at me.
I had a water rescue off me yesterday.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, jeez, what, somebody tried going down the dam?
Somebody in a canoe, I said capsized.
All right, anyway, so you were throwing
Motion to deem checklist item A completed.
second? Okay, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye. All right. Checklist item B, 3 copies of a separate map indicating all property owners within 200 feet of the subject property and/or all those property owners and entities which require notice under section 45, 24, 53 RIGL. Also depicting any zoning district boundaries and use of all neighboring properties.
I can read through the list for you guys if you want to check them off as I go.
Okay.
So we have Kenneth Bushy, map 27, lot 148. Yep. And then we have Lewis Group LLC, which is map 28, lot 133. Yep. It's across the street. Then we have Charles Athletic Association, map 28, lot 144. Yep. Again, Kenneth and Timothy Bushy, map 27, lot 149. Gilbert and Gertrude Pelchat, map 28, 135. Yep. Valley Grange, which is map 28, lot 145, that's the subject. St. Joseph's Church and Rectory, map 28, lot 132. Yep.
Should be it.
You get
Oh, I
136?
got one more. Anchor Storage of Hopkinton LLC, map 28, lot 136.
You got it.
Okay. Make a motion that checklist item B is complete?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
So C looks like it was a waiver request.
Yes. Checklist item C is the soil erosion and stormwater control plan, which they filed for a waiver on.
Make a motion to accept that waiver and grant that waiver since there's nothing proposed.
Second.
Any discussion on that? All in favor?
Aye. Checklist D, a letter from a biologist indicating that there are no freshwater wetlands on or in proximity of the site, such that this,
Got a waiver too, Joe?
no,
They didn't
they didn't ask for it.
ask for one on that?
Usually be one. You got a letter in the package somewhere?
No, you don't have anything from a biologist on that with the septic?
Septic? No, I thought that was a waiver request.
I don't see it on the section, but you can amend.
Just initial.
Yeah, if you go to, do you have the original, Tiana?
There's no footprint change.
Right.
Nothing's
Yeah, there's no,
Yeah.
no structure within.
If you could amend the original application to ask the deed to be a waiver.
Suffice?
Was that in?
Would this suffice?
It asked for a letter.
Item D is in
D
David.
D is in David.
Just put biologist letter.
It's too long.
Biologist? You can just write biologist.
Item D is much shorter.
Okay.
Bio letter.
Did you see something in there, Dan? that was-
Well, Dan put the wetland buffer on there, but
It's asking for a letter.
Okay.
I think the waiver covers it, John. They're not doing anything to it. No, nothing exterior.
Okay, so there is a waiver request on checklist item D, the biologist letter in play now. Does anybody entertain?
I make a motion, we waive checklist item D.
Second.
Second, any discussion on that? All right, all in favor?
Aye. Checklist item E is location of existing septic system, where construction requires approval by RIDEM, Division of Land Resources, for an ISDS, individual sewage disposal system, or changes of use permit for the proposed activity. Attach a copy of the application.
They've got a new septic system there, which they provided the application, and that was done for the grain show, which looks like it says 100 seats, 5 gallons per seat per day. You comfortable with that, Tony? Yeah. Good with that. Make a motion to accept the approved septic plans as submitted by the prior application.
On the checklist item E.
Yeah.
Okay. Is there a second?
Second.
Joe's got a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Checklist item F is a traffic study addressing potential impact to the proposed activity, and there's a waiver request for that as well.
So on the traffic on that, I'm inclined that I don't believe there's a traffic issue there. The use of the athletic field is far more substantial than what the preschool is going to bring in. Three baseball fields there and a playground. There's a tremendous amount of parking and activity in that parking lot that can handle far more than the preschool is going to bring in. So that's my 2 cents on it.
Where would the traffic enter? Is it coming from the existing driveway on the right-hand side of the building as we look at from the road, or
Yes. It would enter on the right-hand side and exit out the ball fields.
out the ball
One
field?
way in, one way out.
Okay.
Yeah, so now it's more of a circular, it's not, they're not backing in.
So they'd be coming out between the 2 ball fields to the
Correct.
side? Yeah.
So personally, I have no issue with that. I think it's much better than what the Grange had in the past, where they were coming up that narrow.
I think I would have an issue if they didn't have the situation where it's basically one way. It's good.
It's probably why Tony did that.
Yeah.
Any comment on it, Dan?
Well, I mean, I agree with the conclusion, but just for a slightly different reason. I don't think that, my understanding is that they're not, when the building is in use, they're not increasing the number of people that are going to be in there. This is a use that's going to occur at different times from the current uses.
That's correct too, yeah.
All right, so I don't think that they're increasing the amount of people that are going to be in that property at any one given time.
Right.
So for those reasons, I don't see the need for a traffic study.
Also, I think the Grange's maximum capacity exceeds the use that they're proposing. So they have had other events there in the past that can handle a lot more than what the preschool would bring in.
What kind of number of kids are you proposing or expecting?
20 per day max.
So 20 cars in the morning, 20 cars at night, plus teachers.
And how many, what's the capacity now? What's the capacity?
125 upstairs and 75 downstairs, so they could go in
Yeah,
downstairs.
right. I mean, land, pretty minimal compared to what the property can handle. So I have no objections to it. So if you guys are inclined, we'd entertain a motion. And that's nobody's been. So he's got a bite, I can't do it.
I make a motion, we grant a waiver for the traffic study, checklist item F.
We got a second, all right, any more discussion on that? We'll put all our points on the record. All in favor?
Aye. Checklist item G, on a separate site plan, indicate existing and proposed topography at a 2-foot intervals. There's a waiver for that as well, but it's already on the map, isn't
It's
it?
already there, so,
Make a motion to accept it. It's already on the plan. It's there. It's met the requirement.
Second.
any discussion? Good, we got a second from Joe, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
The last item is provide evidence, checklist item H, sorry, provide evidence that the proposed water supply has sufficient supply to support the proposed activities and is of drinking water quality. They are on town water there, and they're looking for a waiver on that as well.
Just town water.
Yeah, being it's on town water, mute.
Make a motion to accept the waiver.
Any discussion? With a second from Van, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. That's about it.
All right.
Yeah,
One thing, our solicitor did want me to mention to you is that if there are Richmond residents that need to be notified, take sure to notify them as well, and he did say to, just confirm the trunk over there, that this is going on as well.
Someone put in 200 feet, whatever.
In the Richmond area.
Off the back of the property on the other side of the river,
Yeah,
I don't think the river is 200 foot wide, so somebody owns that back portion. So if you take, because you're a big bowling alley lot, right?
yeah,
So take that radius 200 feet in over the river and see if there's one lot or multiple lots. Those people have to be notified as well as the people on the Hopkinton list by certified mail. Tiana and Tony can help you with that, right? Or Tony, you really help you with that?
Sherry. or-
Sherry, all right.
Yeah.
Contact
We
Sherry.
did that last time we put in for
Mhm.
Yeah, well, we did a special use permit for the festival.
Right.
We had to notify them on
Yeah.
that side of it.
Yeah, you might already have the same list, but check that and make sure, and then bring the certified copies of receipt, or if they didn't pick it up, bring it back to Tiana before the next, before the hearing on, what did I say, the 18th?
Yeah.
So that should be it, and then we'll ask you some questions, and we'll move forward then. All right? All right, that's it. Ronnie's got the doggy gate up, he can't come in. Yes. I could barely get over it. Short legs. So you guys are all set for tonight? You can, yep, you're all good.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, guys.
Have a good night, everybody.
Actually, now with that being said,
Is this a gift?
we should actually, have a motion for the entire checklist is complete.
The motion that the checklist is complete.
Second. All in favor? Aye. Thanks for the input, Ronnie.
Thank you. Welcome.
You didn't know it was 6, huh?
No.
Oh, jeez.
Are we going to adjourn as a zoning board and reopen as a black?
No, we still have, which we could get into that one right now. I don't think we need the attorney for that, to be honest with you. Yep,
It's a hearing, isn't it?
it is. What do you think, Tony? You think we need sitting in there? I don't know.
Attorney for this?
No. Oh. It's pretty straightforward. Oh, boy.
Probably no more, make a lot less.
It's funny because it's true.
I forgot she was leaving this for me.
So,
Now I gotta make sure I don't lose it.
that's right. We have Dan the man.
Where is Dan?
Dual capacity.
Jesus Christ, it didn't look like an old man there. That's you, Danny?
Ouch. You want to?
Huh?
Glad to see you made it.
Wow,
Okay, so,
side view. You look really old.
Thank you.
guys want to move forward?
Ready, Ronnie?
Yeah.
I am.
Let's go. Okay. All right, so petition 2 is a hearing continued from the canceled December meeting, which is a petition for a dimensional variance filed by Courtney Cahill on behalf of herself, the mailing address of 21 Yellows Lane, Rockville, Rhode Island, 02873, the property owned by Courtney Cahill and Jermaine Muir, located at 21 Yellows Lane, Rockville, Rhode Island, 02873, and identified as Assessor's Plat 16, Lot 11, RFR 80 zone, and filed in accordance with Section 9 of Chapter 134 of the zoning ordinance of the town of Hopkinton as amended. We have the applicant present. Can you state your name for the record? Actually, come up, we're going to ask you some questions.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you come up to the podium over here. And
I feel like this is legit. Okay,
it's okay.
I didn't prepare any notes.
You don't have to. We're just going to ask you some simple questions.
Okay, sounds good.
But can you put your name on the record? We know what it is, but we have to have it read into the record.
Courtney Cahill,
Where do you live, Courtney?
21 Yellow Lane,
There you go.
Rockville, Rhode Island, 02873.
Thank you. All right, so it looks like we got some, yeah, do you have those?
I just had to go back.
Tiana's gonna make sure all of those are there. I believe on the pre-app, we had an outstanding, item, which was the biologist letter.
I
Got
can give you
anywhere?
an update. I don't have the letter.
Okay,
I called, you had mentioned that maybe to call the septic person who had done our expanded our septic. I called Bill at Affordable Septic. He was the guy that had done it. He didn't need one, so he didn't have one, when he did the septic.
okay.
Or at least that's what he said. It could just be that it's so old, he didn't have it on file. We called DEM also to see if maybe they could recommend someone that could help us. We spoke to 4 people and they didn't know what we could do. And then we finally left a message for a gentleman. We're waiting for him to call us back. We were gonna ask to see if there's any way that before, we still have to get a building permit before we really can do anything. So we were gonna see if there's any way that this committee board could allow us to move forward with the variance, assuming that we can get the building, the biologist letter for purposes of building.
How does the board feel about that? Tony, maybe we make a subject to the building permit?
We won't issue a building permit to get that,
Yeah,
confirmation of that.
yeah, okay, that's fine, because the only biologist that I found was one up in Massachusetts, and to get them to come down, it's like a 3-month wait for me to get them to come down.
That would be if the board agrees to it.
Yeah, okay, yeah, just understood, thank you.
What's the board's pleasure with that? Because we technically can't move forward with the hearing until we clear up that question. Mind to set that,
Put it as a condition.
yeah,
on the approval.
we'll make a subject too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but well, that could be handled in his office after though.
Yes.
Right, no point making them come back here.
Yeah, no point coming back.
Oh, yeah, no, they wouldn't need to come back. That way we can continue with the hearing, making the, receipt of the biologist letter, to the building department before any permits are issued. You guys entertain a motion?
I think that the application, the dimensional variance is more or less, not more or less, it's a side dimensional variance, not a rear dimensional variance, and the pond is in the rear. However, I mean, our ordinance clearly looks for a letter from a biologist, and I think this would certainly fall under DEM's jurisdiction. So I think at very least, they should have a letter from a biologist stating that this project will not require a permit from DEM. And if it does, then they should have a permit. If we're going to issue the variance subject to that, so be it. But I just don't want it to fall through the cracks. We send other people, for this kind of information. And if we look at that plan, we're clearly, we're probably just outside the 50 foot of the pond, graphically.
Right. Oh, no,
I just don't want to set precedents. We've made other people go through it, and I just think, if somebody calls in the spring and says, hey, how come they're doing this, they didn't get a DEM permit, yet the zoning board issued a permit or issued a variance, and it's on our checklist, and it kind of comes back on us.
subject to, which we've done in the
Yeah,
past.
but a
correct?
serious subject to, that's gonna be, we're not gonna see it again. Tony is the only person that we can rely on, but that would know that that's gonna happen.
Can we
That's
trust
my
Tony?
opinion.
Someone might.
Well,
It's up to the board.
so, just to clean up our own laundry on that, why don't we request that the building department issue notice to us once it's received so that we know that it's cleared up, right?
You have a full-size plan there, John?
Yes.
Yeah, this,
If I may, I'm also happy to make sure to give you guys, I can give you guys a copy of it too. So because we gotta go to your office to go get the permit, I can make
Yeah,
sure that
well,
we
we let
get.
Tony do it, because like the next meeting,
Okay.
or he could kick it to Tiana and she can send it to us.
Okay,
That way we're following up on our own
yeah,
laundry.
of course.
Because I mean, I don't disagree with Dan at all, because once it leaves here, we tend to not see it again, and we don't want to leave a loose end.
Mhm.
And
Understood.
not that we don't trust our building official, but sometimes we just don't know. No, you just don't know, things fall through the cracks.
and it looks like the way Jim Flynn, the surveyor's got it shown on his plan, that the proposed deck is what will be closest to the pond, and he's got a dimension of 72 feet to the edge of the pond, which, if it is a 50-foot setback, which we know is at least 50-foot setback, You know, there's certain wiggle room there, but, I mean, I'd be comfortable with that, you know, with the letter / DEM permit. Whatever's gonna be required by the state.
Right. I'm fine with that too, for the same reason you said, they're not getting closer to the pond.
Well, they are.
The deck is,
Yeah,
right.
yeah. And the question is the edge of the pond, the edge of the wetland? That's not always the case. And quite honestly, sometimes you got a pond and it comes up a couple feet from the pond and that's it. Other times you got a 10 or 15 foot flatter area that's still wetland, but it's not the pond. And I see that more often than not.
Right.
So that's okay. I mean, they've got a lot of information. It was just, we were trying to save them a step in using an old letter they might have had when they did the septic permit that would have, you know, carried this for us. Again, what do you guys think? I've
Yeah,
said
no,
what
well,
these-
that's the discussion. Dan, do you have any input on that? What are your feelings?
I mean, I don't think I'd agree. I don't think we should delegate that responsibility to the building inspector's office. There's a considerable amount of relief that this applicant is seeking. And I think the responsibility is on us to ensure that we follow the steps, adhere to them as we're required to do it. And I don't think we're talking about a simple traffic study or something along those lines. We're clearly operating inside DEM's jurisdiction. I think we have an obligation to be sure that all the Ts are crossed and the Is are dotted.
Appreciate that. I don't think-
This didn't come up tonight. This has been known for a couple months.
Correct.
So I think, it's a challenging project. I think it would behoove us to adhere to the process.
Your thoughts, Joe?
What's the elevation change from the pond up to the proposed house?
Well, you're going from, looks like 308 to 7 up to, so you're going up 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, probably 10 or 12 feet.
10 to 12 feet.
I'm trying to find the line. 3, 2. Yeah, I mean, I'd say close to 10 to 12 feet. It's not flat.
No, it's not flat. It's not that steep either, really, at the end of the day.
Been 70 some feet, that is pretty steep, so, and quite honestly, that might work for them, that the wetlands are right at the 72 feet off the deck. You know, it's right at the edge of pond.
Yeah, the edge of the deck is probably 8 feet higher than the pond.
Yeah.
And then, the house itself is a little bit higher too. It kind of slopes off.
Yeah, it's like on a hill, so the basement's a walkout.
It's just been my experience, specifically working on the ponds and the rivers. Get people out in kayaks and canoes, especially this past summer with everybody being home with the pandemic. Locust Pond, perfect example. I mean, every time Dick and Harry, someone cuts a tree down and DM's probably got 5 calls. I mean, in this case, that's not a very densely populated pond, but there's still, a couple dozen houses maybe on the pond, and I'm sure they're good people. I'm sure their intent is, all good, but like Dan said, we're not following the rules, then who the hell's gonna follow?
We're not waiving.
No, I know.
The letter.
Dan's right.
That's fine.
Yeah,
It's just discussion. What do you think, Ronnie?
With both of them with concerns that we probably should just do it the right way.
Okay. I think if the 3 of you are in that mindset, then I think we gotta wait for the letter. So,
Does that mean that I can't move, I mean, I can still apply for the permit too. My biggest concern is that it's gonna take me like 3 months to get a biologist letter, and so that means that I won't be able to file for the building permit.
I think, and we can't give you any names, but I know there's at least 3 or 4 other biologists that are local. Tony can.
You do?
that could
Okay, that would
probably-
be great, 'cause
Probably help you
I
for you.
haven't had any luck.
Not supposed to, but 3 months sounds like a long time.
Yeah. The earliest they told me was end of March, so.
What you might want to do though is contact them really soon, because if you put snow on the ground, then they do have a tough time delineating the wetlands, but if you get them out there next week, again, it's a very open site, say, look, I need this, my plans. It's up to you guys, if you want to, hear it, I'm not objecting to hearing it, but, Dan's certainly voiced his,
you guys have good points. I mean, I'm finding the direction. It's not going, unfinished. I mean, we need the letter. It's just a matter of cart before the horse. And I understand your concerns. I don't want the board to lose track of it.
And this is a public hearing tonight.
Yes.
The neighbor, which would be 3.17 feet off the property line. Did he write a letter? He's obviously not here, but
Yeah.
you wrote a letter?
Yeah, we wrote a letter.
Okay, so that's not a positive.
Mr. Schomburg. Right.
Yep, so there's no objections from
No.
him. He's not on our online space portal? No?
No, he told me he'd come here, but I know he hasn't been feeling well lately, so.
Okay. I mean, that helps too, even if you had a letter from him, if he doesn't want to attend, right? We've accepted those in the past, just saying that he's in favor of what we're doing.
Oh, yeah.
He's so close, if there was an objection, we want to know right away. So,
Yeah, and I think we might have included a letter in our file, but I don't know. I'll check if we didn't. If we didn't include it, I'll ask him to sign it.
being said, can I entertain a motion to continue to next month?
Moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
And the only discussion would be that would be with them having time to get the ballot.
Yes.
Get all-
So,
And I think, just for clarification, what I'd be looking for specifically is a biologist to go out, review your plans, and either hang flags, just to demarcate the wetlands, and then write a little letter. If that letter would cover it, and if they can certify that what you're doing is outside of DEM jurisdiction, they don't feel they have to go to DEM for permit, I'll speak for myself, I'd be content with that. But again, we need that guidance in the file
so if you can get that to us next month, you're all good. If there's a delay, let Tony know so that we have to continue one more, and we get a hard time again. Just stay in contact with him, and
Yeah.
we'll do our best to accommodate. So we had a motion on the floor to continue the next month, providing with the biologist letter. Do we get a second? Get a second, Ronnie, any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, thank you. See you soon.
I think you're welcome. So let's clean up some stuff.
Yeah.
Before we adjourn, the zoning. Some minutes. Yeah,
I make a motion, we accept the minutes from November 19th, 2020 zoning board of review meeting.
you guys remember that one?
Was I there?
So, members present. Absent, Ronnie's position.
That was the COVID scare, wasn't it?
Yeah. So can I entertain a motion to accept the minutes as presented?
I second it.
Oh, you made it? I'm sorry, I'm listening to him. Okay, any discussion on that? Other than Ronnie was absent. All right, all in favor? Aye. Aye, okay. Why don't we, can we entertain a motion to adjourn the zoning board meeting?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
You know?